And former President Trump today hosting a press conference at his Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida. This as he announces he's open to having 3 debates with his rival Vice President Kamala Harris. Let's hear from the former president.
So I just look forward to these debates. I think it's very important that we have them. I hope she agrees to them September 4th, September 10th, September 25th. And I think they'll be very revealing.
Earlier today, ABC News confirming that both Trump and Harris have agreed on a debate on September 10th. Harris is yet to respond to Trump's 3-debate offer. Meanwhile, the former president said he is slated to do a sit-down interview with Elon Musk on Monday. The Tesla CEO threw his support behind Trump in the wake of the failed assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. Here's Trump responding to NTD News' Iris Tao about the upcoming interview.
I respect Elon a lot. He respects me. And not easy for him to endorse, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be Monday night. And I believe he's the host of the show. So it'll be very interesting. A lot of people are talking about it. I look forward to it. That'll be done on Monday night.
In today's presser coming just 2 days after Vice President Kamala Harris tagged Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be her running mate. In an update on the assassination attempt on former President Trump, Fox News just obtaining police body cam footage from just before the shooting at the Trump rally on July 13th. The news agency says that it's obtained footage from the Butler Township Police Department through a records request. It shows 2 officers attempting to stop the shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, who was on the roof just moments before the shooting. In the footage, one officer says he scaled the building but saw Crooks pointing his gun at him, forcing the officer to duck and unable to then get on top of the roof. He later fell from the 8-foot-tall building after losing his grip on the roof's edge. The police body cam is the latest publicly available footage of the assassination attempt. And today is the Harris-Walz campaign's second full day since Minnesota Governor Tim Walz joined the ticket. NTD's Jason Blair has an update on the campaign.
Vice President Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz were campaigning in Wisconsin and Michigan on Wednesday, with Harris showing confidence in her VP pick.
He has been a serious leader and he loves our country.
Former President Trump told Fox and Friends Wednesday that he's thrilled about Harris choosing Walz and also surprised.
I can't believe it. I never thought this was going to be the one that was picked.
Harris spoke at a second campaign event in Detroit on Thursday, then is flying to Arizona with a rally scheduled in Phoenix on Friday. The Harris-Walz team seems to be getting off to a strong start. The campaign announced $36 million raised in the first 24 hours following the Walz VP announcement.
When you're raised by an immigrant mother.
And on Thursday, the campaign announced a new ad targeting Latino voters. It's called Determination and, quote, spotlights Vice President Harris's story, a story that mirrors that of many Latinos and immigrants. The campaign said that Harris was raised by an immigrant mother. The Harris team said it will run in both English and Spanish on TV, radio, and media platforms in battleground states. Reporting on Capitol Hill, Jason Blair, NTD News.
And as we near the end of the primary season, nearly all congressional members who voted to impeach former President Trump are now gone from Congress after retiring or being ousted through the primaries. And a new Montana poll highlighting a potential Senate seat flip in that state. NTD's Melina Wisecup has more on some of these important races to watch come November.
Congressman Dan Newhouse of Washington is the second to last House Republican to remain in office since he joined 10 other Republicans in voting to impeach former President Trump back in 2021. The others either retired or were defeated in a primary race. Now it's looking increasingly likely that Newhouse may be defeated in this year's election by a Trump-endorsed candidate, Jared Sessler. He's a former NASCAR driver and U.S. Navy veteran.
It's like this big dome and it's kind of a protected environment.
Right.
That's like what God has done in America, and it's not natural. If we don't maintenance it, it's going to go away.
Sessler beat Newhouse by nearly 7 percentage points. But they'll face off again in November because of Washington's nonpartisan blanket primary system. The top 2 candidates advance to the general election. Another race we're keeping an eye on is one of Montana's Senate seats. There's a matchup between Republican veteran Tim Sheehy and third-term Democrat Senator John Tester.
I want to remind Washington what it is to have service and sacrifice at the center of your mission.
This election is really important. If you want a Montana that's the Montana you were raised in, this election is really important.
Tester wasn't on the ticket in 2020 when Trump won Montana. Now that his seat's up for grabs, he's trying to rally Republicans to his side. Just this week, his campaign launched a Republicans for Tester group to brace for the tight race. As for the top of the ticket, Trump leads Harris in the state of Montana 55% to 40% according to a new poll. As for undecided voters, when they were asked who they'd lean towards, Trump jumps up to 58%. Kamala Harris ticks up, though still trailing Trump at 43%. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weiskup, NTD News.
And the Chinese Communist Party appears to be ramping up its campaign to suppress the Falun Gong spiritual practice right here in the United States. One of the methods they're using this time, spies and social media influencers. NTD's Washington correspondent Jack Bradley has more from the U.S. State Department.
Newly leaked documents reveal that the Chinese Communist Party is stepping up its persecution campaign against the Falun Gong spiritual practice and Shen Yun, a New York-based performing arts company which shows what China was like before communism. The Chinese officials are doing this by directing social media influencers to attack Falun Gong here in the U.S. and thereby turning the general public against them. It's the latest effort by the Chinese Communist Party to eliminate the Falun Gong spiritual practice. Falun Gong, also known as Falun Dafa, is an ancient practice introduced to the public in the early 1990s. It combines meditation and gentle exercises with moral teachings based on truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. But due to its rising popularity, the Chinese Communist Party launched a persecution of the practice in 1999. Members of the practice are imprisoned in China and subjected to torture, brainwashing, and even forced live organ harvesting. And now, the CCP appears to be expanding its propaganda and disinformation. An August 7th report by the Falun Dafa Information Center found that the Chinese regime is initiating a campaign to eliminate Falun Gong and Shen Yun Performing Arts, a New York-based classical Chinese dance group, many of whose performers practice Falun Gong. The report highlights leaked documents inside of China that finds that Chinese officials directed social media influencers and Western media outlets to spread misinformation to trigger a U.S. law enforcement response against Falun Gong practitioners. 3 whistleblowers leaked notes from a June meeting in China's Ministry of Public Security, finding that the Chinese officials ordered its agents to, quote, create and escalate the internal conflicts of Falun Gong to expand non-stop the fighting strength, depth, and reach of social media influencers targeting Falun Gong. They must attract the continuous attention of the entire United States society and force the U.S. government to strike on all fronts, eliminating the force of Falun Gong. We've reached out to the State Department for a response on this, but haven't yet heard back. Now, in the latest action to take action against the persecution of Falun Gong, in the Senate, U.S. officials have introduced the Falun Gong Protection Act, which would sanction any individual involved in the Chinese regime's forced organ harvesting of Falun Gong practitioners. A similar companion version of the bill passed the House back in June. Reporting from the Department of State, Jack Bradley, NTD News.
Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.